Hey folks, today we're going to do a collection pickup video and just show off some of my recent additions to the collection, but I'm also going to take some time to talk about some of the batshit insane stuff that's going on in the Pokemon hobby right now. But first, see if you can spot the difference between these two cards. It's kind of subtle. I'll give you a moment to look. See that little scratch looking thing right there? Apparently this is some kind of error, at least according to CGC. I've never heard of this one. It just looks like damage to me, honestly, but it could be just where maybe a print layer was missed. I thought it was kind of cool, so I picked it up. I really enjoy collecting WotC-era Pokemon cards, especially the error cards, because there's some really crazy random stuff out there. But speaking of crazy and random, did you hear about where a grandmother was actually trying to sell a fake Pokemon card, or actually use her grandson to sell a fake Pokemon card? Like, seriously, I had to see this to believe it. I'm going to put a video thumbnail up here for Kira's channel. Go watch this video when this is done. It's totally worth watching, and you won't believe this shit. And while you're there, make sure you give her a subscribe too. Now, I don't know Kira personally, but I've been watching her channel since she had less subscribers than me, and well, she's kind of blown up in the last few months. Good channel to watch, especially if you like poking fun at all the crazy bullshit that's going on in our hobby right now. For example, using children to scam people. What is this world coming to, man? I also found it kind of funny just the amount of hate I got for that video I made about the Pokemon market, kind of doing some theory crafting and applying economics theory to, well, the Pokemon market, and kind of pointing out the fact that at some point all of this has to come crashing down when demand falls. That's also the main reason you see me stacking up a bunch of vintage cards. The main fact being that I actually really love these old cards. They're from my childhood. But also, they're a lot more likely to hold their value than mass-printed modern cards. I think a lot of people are sleeping on vintage right now and focusing on prismatic evolutions and, you know, whatever new set's coming out, whatever chase card is getting scalped, whatever chase box is getting scalped, I should say. You've probably noticed if you've been watching this channel for a while, I haven't really got anything modern for the last year. You've also seen me pick up a lot of duplicate cards. Now this Porygon 2 is actually something I needed for my Neo collection, but you've seen in this video a couple duplicates already of things I've already gotten. Maybe things I had in lower grades, or maybe I had another 9. I'm stacking these because, well, I can use them for trading materials at my local game store, or if I go to a card show or something. I got a lot of stuff I can trade away and, you know, pool together to try to get some other, like, really cool vintage cards. Like a couple of things I really need for my first edition collection. The first edition Shining Charizard, Erica's Dragonair holographic first edition, and Light Dragonite. Actually, Dark Gengar too, now that I think about it. I have the unlimited version of that card graded, but I don't have the first edition yet. Now, I think this Arbok was about $100, but I think right now a lot of people are kind of ignoring vintage, which means the prices on these cards are pretty good. You know, I picked this up for a reasonable price, and it's something I actually really needed for my collection. I have another copy, but it wasn't in very good shape. I think it was like an 8 in CGC, but this Beckett one is absolutely gorgeous. But if I had to predict 5 years from now, this card is going to be worth more than it is right now, by a lot, because this was made 25 plus years ago, as opposed to something modern. Like if you take a look at this example Opossum Bud's talking about here, someone literally paid $23,000 for a McDonald's card, one of those Japanese McDonald's cards we all heard about a couple weeks ago. That's just freaking insane, man. Like, that card is not going to be worth $20-something thousand like a year from now, even though it is a black label. Why do I say that? It's a McDonald's card. There's probably a billion of these things printed, and everybody's going to see that one of these sold for $20-something thousand. They're going to go grade theirs, and then there's going to be 200 black labels out there. I expect to see the price on this card drop a lot. Now compare that to something vintage, not so much. Expect vintage to continue to go up over time, even with periodic dips in there, because it's rare. It's actually hard to find these cards in good condition. Or if you look at something like the Sunbreon, those are absolutely everywhere. So you're probably wondering why I'm showing you all these Japanese prismatic evolutions, or Terrastal Festival, I think is the name of the set. Why am I showing you these? Well, this is my ultimate fuck you to the scalpers. I really wanted these cards. I wanted the English versions, but I broke down and said, you know what, I'm just going to get Japanese. The prices on these are just too stupid right now. The set is still in print, but it's still getting scalped to oblivion. I'm just going to get the Japanese version, and if you actually take a look at these, they are absolutely gorgeous. Like, the texturing on them is just phenomenal. Wait until the light hits it just right, and you'll see that there's like a whole new depth of dimension to Japanese cards that you don't necessarily see on English cards. The card quality is off the charts. So I guess the point for me is I really didn't want to get these cards for the value. You know, I went with the Japanese version so I can own a copy of these artworks in PSA 10. It's what I wanted in English, but actually these look a lot better than the English ones because the card quality is better. It's kind of a win-win for me, and there you can see that texture again. So you probably noticed that I don't really do pack openings on the channel anymore. I've bought like 5 packs of Pokemon cards in the last year, and that's coming from someone who used to buy at least a booster box a month during my peak Pokemon days. And there's the Sunbryon in Japanese, just gorgeous. The reason I'm doing that is I refuse to pay scalped prices for English cards, and well, you shouldn't either. So that's pretty much all I got to say today. Thank you, Boxed, for sponsoring this video. Gotta make sure I get that in there. That's been my primary way for getting cards that aren't scalped to oblivion. Have a great day, folks.